Howdy folks, today we're going to be reviewing Hitman, as well as Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, The Fall Guy, Civil War, and Hundreds of Beavers. Starting with Hitman, this is the newest film from director Richard Linklater, the director of my mom's favorite movie. This is going to be released on Netflix in a few weeks, but I got the chance to see it in theaters. It's really stupid that they aren't giving this a wide release in theaters. This is such a good movie to watch with a crowd. This is the second funniest movie of the year. I'll get to number one later. And I was laughing the whole time. This was one of the most enjoyable theatrical experiences I've had this year. The story takes so many twists and turns that leave you both invested and laughing. And there are some scenes that are a lot more serious, but the film manages to perfectly balance the comedic and serious tones. Glenn Powell really gets to show off his comedic range with all the false identities he plays. I mean, he co-wrote the damn thing, so all of the supporting cast was really good too. The film is incredibly well-paced and also feels very rewatchable. I'm definitely going to rewatch it when it hits Netflix, but I think you should really see it in theaters. It's worth it. And I am giving Hitman a 4 out of 5. Now let's move on to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Before the release of this newest film, I decided to watch the trilogy of Planet of the Apes films from a few years ago, and I quickly became obsessed. That quickly became one of my all-time favorite film trilogies, so I was a bit skeptical going into this newest film. But I am happy to say that Kingdom did not disappoint. In fact, it surpassed my expectations. Set 300 years after the events of War for the Planet of the Apes, this film expands on the lore of this franchise in ways I did not expect. The world building in this is really effective. Each of these ape villages feel lived in, and you really feel like you're 300 years in the post-apocalyptic future. The director of this, Wes Ball, which is an absolutely insane name, has a real talent for world building, which is good considering he's set to direct a live-action Legend of Zelda movie. The film follows Noah, an ape whose family gets taken by the ruler of the apes, Proximus Caesar, and what happens when he meets a human girl on his journey to get them back. Noah's connection to May, the human girl, and his knowledge of the human world that came before him make him a really interesting protagonist. I'm really interested to see where his character goes next, which is good considering they've already greenlit 5 more films in this franchise. And May is another really interesting character, and I'm looking forward to see where her story goes next. And Proximus Caesar, which is another crazy name, is a really great villain for this film, and he has a lot of screen presence. I just wish he had a bit more screen time. You really feel for each of the characters, and it's because you feel for them that you care about the plot and the stakes. And as for the visual effects, I mean, what is there really to say? It looks incredible. The action is also fantastic. My only complaint is that this movie is a little bit too long. While I appreciate it taking its time to show us the world, I feel like 2.5 hours is too long for a movie like this. Overall, I still really enjoyed it. Probably not as good as any of the other movies in the trilogy, but I still think this is a really good entryway into a new part of this franchise. I am giving this one a 4 out of 5. Moving on to The Fall Guy, I don't really have that much to say about this one. It did what it came here to do, and that is to be a pretty funny, solid action comedy. It's pretty funny, there are some good performances, and a lot of great action. It's not the most original thing in the world, but it's a great movie to just turn your brain off to and watch. It's a shame this bombed in theaters, because much like Hitman, this is a really great movie to watch with a crowd in the theater. This movie will probably be 2 things, a cult classic in like 10 years, and it also feels like a really great movie to watch on an airplane. I will warn you, however, if you do decide to watch this, there's a scene where a character starts playing music on a speaker, and there is a jump scare by the DJ Khaled producer tag, so fair warning if you decide to watch this. I am feeling a 3.5 out of 5 for The Fall Guy. And now on to Civil War. This is one of the worst movies I've seen in a very long time. I genuinely do not feel like talking about this movie because it just pisses me off. If you want to know my full thoughts, go read my Letterboxd review, but I'll cover just the basics in here. This is one of the most boring, most poorly written, poorly directed, most waste of time pieces of shit I've ever seen in my life. The story is just so lazy and full of plot holes that just don't make any sense. I mean, if you probably asked Alex Garland, the writer and director of this, why this whole thing happened in the first place, he'll probably gonna be like, I don't know, but war bad, so war bad, we shouldn't have war. I mean, yeah, no shit, but like, at least show it in like some kind of nuanced way. Films that are actually trying to say something should say that in a way that isn't just completely black and white. It shows everything it's wanting to say in the most one-dimensional ways possible. Please do not waste your time with this garbage. Half a star. And now, from the very bottom of the barrel to literally one of the best movies of the 21st century so far, Hundreds of Beavers.
Holy shit, I'm gonna come.
Many films over the years have been experimental, and many of those have sucked. And it's very rare that you get a experimental film that is genuinely groundbreaking and pushes the envelope. And it's even rarer to find a genuinely groundbreaking and envelope-pushing experimental film that is also hilarious to watch. But Hundreds of Beavers is definitely that. This is the first time in a long time where I genuinely cannot imagine what it must have been like to be making this movie. Just imagine showing up to set, putting on a beaver costume, and the director telling you, go stand in front of the green screen so you can copy and paste you in order to create a giant beaver robot. I mean, the absurdity of that just makes the movie all the more funnier. Hundreds of Beavers deserves nothing less than a 5 out of 5. This is my ranking of everything I reviewed today. Go watch Hundreds of Beavers and also watch Ripley on Netflix. I've been going through that and it's really good. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow my letterboxd, stay safe, and drink water. Bye.